Today I have a surprising battle for you. Galaxy S24 Ultra and Xiaomi 14 Ultra. Let's see which Ultra is the best. Let's get into it.
I'll be checking out everything these flagships have to offer. Photography, macro, capabilities to film cinematic videos, low light, along with some cool features and selfie camera comparison, of course. This is my biggest phone camera comparison test to date, and since I started posting my videos about a year ago, so let's start this year getting closer to 100,000 subscribers. And to be honest with you, I've never tried Xiaomi phones before, so this is a completely new experience for me. Let's begin.
Okay, now let's see what's new on this phone compared to the S24 Ultra. So right away, I will be doing it in the photo auto mode, and then we'll switch to the manual one. So you see more or less the preview quality is about the same. I want to say that the S24 Ultra gives a little bit over sharpened look, like digital sharpness, if you know what I mean. As you know, S24 Ultra has this anti-reflective screen, and right now as we have this sunny weather, it really helps a lot. One thing that I like on the 14 Ultra is that the HDR switch is right here, so I can enable or disable HDR, and also the Leica Authentic and Leica Vibrant switches is here. And here's the difference between them. I would say that Leica Vibrant adds a little bit of vibrancy and saturation to the midtones. That's how I feel it. You see the wooden handle on this knife has a little bit more to it, like orange feels a little bit rich. So if you want to have that richness in colors, you use Leica Vibrant. If you want more neutral, more close to life, I would say, then Leica Authentic. So that's what I will be using today. And if we go into different settings here, we have quite a few actually over here. So one that really draws my attention is auto aperture. You see this phone has adjustable aperture, so I can actually switch between auto and let the phone decide for me. In this kind of weather, it's acceptable, to be honest. But if you want to have brighter photo and you know you will be taking photos in low light, in that case, for sure, you will be using f1.6 because this is the maximum opening amount and it will let more light onto the sensor. But for now, I will use the auto. What's cool is that you can actually see as I'm switching between different aperture amounts, you can see how the aperture opens or closes. So that's really cool. And let's take side-by-side photo. Now, one thing I want to say is that the S24 Ultra definitely feels bulkier in hand. It has bigger screen, obviously, but also the overall shape, the squarish shape, is less comfortable to hold. Now let's do the 3x lens. And now let's do the 5x telephoto. Xiaomi gives more natural results with richer contrast, whereas the S24 Ultra has this HDR look to it. And main camera, I would prefer on the 14 Ultra, have a look. You see the Samsung has this HDR and just lifted all the shadows here, but this one looks really natural and the contrast is so rich. We have yet to test other modes, so let's keep moving.
To say I was surprised with the photo quality from Xiaomi in auto mode would be an understatement. This Leica processing definitely makes some photos look like they were taken on a pro camera. And only in comparison side by side, I see that the S24 Ultra has this wild green tint to its photos. Maybe for the untrained eye it's not so obvious, but for me the difference is massive. And hopefully I can teach you what to look for when deciding which camera is better. Just look at the concrete color here. It was nowhere near to what the S24 Ultra shows. I mean, it's too green, but maybe it's just me. See what other people say in the comments.
And now let's compare the super wide angle lenses. Quite high dynamic range over here. And I'm just using automatic exposure. I'm just pressing at the brightest part of the frame. And let's see. S24 Ultra seems to have this green hue to the shadows, while 14 Ultra looks more natural. You let me know which one you prefer. I think in terms of colors, 14 Ultra looks more natural. In terms of sharpness, it's really hard to tell. Both are good.
You know, throughout this video, I took hundreds of photos on both phones. My favorite is this black and white, and it works so good with Xiaomi depth effect, as well as when the phone goes into the always display mode. And I had some people DM me for photo samples from the phone, so I decided to share for free these beautiful photos that you can use as wallpapers. Even though all of these photos were taken on Xiaomi 14 Ultra, they still look amazing even on iPhone 15 Pro Max or Samsung S24 Ultra. I set mine to change the wallpaper every time I touch the screen on iPhone, and on the S24 Ultra every time I unlock it. So if you want to make your phone look more cinematic, then make sure to download your free wallpaper pack. I will drop the link for you in the description, and this way you can appreciate the image quality in full glory.
Okay, so we have other modes to test, but first, all right, so now it's selfie camera test time. There is an option to turn on 1x camera or ultra wide on Xiaomi, and the same thing goes for the S24 Ultra. So let's do the widest shot on both of the phones. I feel like maybe in terms of colors, Xiaomi looks more natural, but not so bright, whereas the Samsung S24 Ultra has more of a HDR feel to the image and has more highlights pop in the photo. So you let me know which one you prefer in the comments. And on the Xiaomi, we have 4K, 720 and 1080 resolution. I will keep the maximum 4K. And on S24 Ultra, I feel like the interface for the resolution implemented a little bit in more user-friendly way, because once you press over here, you can have a look at all the resolutions and frame rates, which is really nice. So I will set up Ultra HD 30 FPS. Okay, so this is the video quality on the selfie camera and audio quality on the Xiaomi 14 Ultra, and this is the audio quality and video quality on the Samsung S24 Ultra. We have a little bit loud environment from the roads, so you let me know if you hear me loud and clear. Xiaomi looks a little bit warmer in tone, that I like more, and the Samsung looks more cool, but Samsung preserves more of the sky. I feel like it shows me on the preview that the sky is bright and blue, whereas on the Xiaomi it's all gray skies. So difficult decision. Which one do you prefer? You let me know in the comments. Samsung has a really nice feature. Have a look. So I'm filming, let's say, myself, but then there is something cool happening over there on the horizon, like there is a bird, you see? And I can do that on the Samsung very easily. I can even go into the zoom mode and film the swan or a train. Look how cool it is. On Xiaomi, there is no such option. And then I can go back into the selfie mode on the Samsung. This is really cool, and I think it's just software related difference here. And this is something Xiaomi can also add to their phones in the future for sure, and they should.
Alright, as you see, both phones have their special features that make each excel in different scenario. And there's one game-changing feature on the 14 Ultra that I really love using. Let's talk about macro capabilities. You see, I love macro photography, but the problem with the most phones is that the macro mode there is dedicated to the ultra-wide-angle camera only, which isn't macro really. It just lets you to focus closer to the subject, and that distorts the subject proportions a lot. While real macro is supposed to have 1:1 ratio, meaning that flowers or bugs retain their proportions and appear as they are in real life, but zoomed in. And this is exactly what the 3.2 lens can do on the 14 Ultra. It's basically a long-range macro lens that can be used either for portraits or for capturing small objects up close. But there is more. There's also an adjustment button for increasing the depth of field to keep more of the subjects in focus. So while the 3x telelens on S24 Ultra can also focus relatively close to the subject, but it's nowhere near if we talk about the sharpness and image quality. So if you are about macro photography, keep that in mind. Now we're getting really close to the video comparison, but first let's rig the phones a little more. Incoming photography kit.
So let's try it, and what you do is you slide in the camera over here and then lock it in place like so. Camera grip, all the information is here. It says phone is at 82%, the grip is at 98%. And you can go into settings and adjust the camera interface here, and you can assign certain functions to different buttons over here. So it's practically like a camera, and hopefully the phone is not gonna fall off. There's no really wobble here. There's like a tiny lock. It has built-in power bank. It's about like 1/5 of the battery capacity of the phone. So I hope we will not drain this handle too much. I can actually use this rocker over here as the zoom. Do you see this? It works in auto mode. That's crazy. It's like I'm using a camera from, I don't know, 2010. Maybe I would like it to zoom in and out a little bit faster than this, or if I could assign, like, you know, double touch to the zoom rocker and then it zooms in quickly, so it could be really useful for some dramatic effects. Even without it, it's pretty fun to use. If I was a boomer, if I was like 60 years old, that would make me so happy. Actually, it already does make me happy, so maybe I'm 60. Hello? Is this raw photo? Am I talking to log video? I'm definitely 60 years old. By the way, I wonder how it works for calls. Like, do I have to remove the phone to call someone because there is no microphone cutouts here?
Now, if I had to choose just one main feature on the 14 Ultra, then hands down it would be an adjustable aperture. Let me explain what it does to the image.
Right now I'm having overexposed image, and I can either compensate this overexposure with the shutter speed or with the aperture, and I would prefer to do it with the aperture in this case. So I only have to do is just adjust the aperture to, let's say, f4, to the maximum amount, and it seems like this jump to f4 is really helping me to darken the image a little bit, and in that case I don't have the overexposure. That's wild. Just think about it. It's just like on the camera. I'm just geeking out over here.
So adjustable aperture is probably my favorite part of this phone, along with Leica image processing. It just makes it so much more versatile. And to be very honest with you, I did not expect much. After all, it's only f4 we're talking about, while pro lenses close down to f22. But keep in mind is that the lens diameter and sensor on the phone is way smaller than full-frame cameras, and that makes the aperture at f4 cut out most of the light.
I have a similar setup, but for the S24 Ultra. Yeah, it's not made by Samsung, it's made by Freewell, but you see, for the S24 Ultra. So it also has the adjustable magnetic mounts and everything else. So in this way, we can have two photography killer setups and see which one is better. So let's start. All right, now let's take a few shots side by side with the Samsung and compare them. We're really lucky right now with the light. You see the sun hitting the theater on the roof. It looks amazing. Let's take the shot. It looks really nice. Let's see which 8K is better. Xiaomi looks more contrasty. I think we're really lucky with the lighting right now. Now let's do the photo in auto mode, since it's so beautiful. A cool thing that I just spotted with this grip handle is it has the shutter button, but it has like double press. You know, like on cameras you press it only so slightly and the camera just like pre-focuses, and then you need to press further. And you see it works with people too, so it recognizes somehow maybe more contrast area of the shot and focuses on it. I wonder if I zoom in, will it do the same thing with the objects? Yeah, it does that. Cool, huh? All right, what else? What else I can take photo of? Traffic light. Let's do traffic light in vertical. You see? Let's see if it's in focus, actually. Yeah, it is. Hold on. Oh. All right, I'm not sure if I made it or not. Yeah, you see? Should have had shutter speed set to manual for this shot because the movement was too fast. But hey, you learn as you go. And now a few more raw shots. Amazing. Look at that lighting. Looks incredible. So vertical shot, 8K, all auto settings on both phones. Looks kind of weird with the sun just hitting the roof. Oh. This shot was really nice. You know, a funny thing that I just spotted is if I have a really bright highlight in the shot like here, it feels like the phone adds this star. This is usually happening when you close down your aperture, all the bright subjects appear like this. That's quite interesting, to be honest. You see the cars in the back? Oh, that was really prominent. This is f4, aperture closed down.
And besides that, there is another feature on 14 Ultra that is not present on Samsung Galaxy, but it does have its own quirks.
Here we have the ability to shoot in log profile, and it's a little bit complicated to use on this phone, to be honest, because you have to use all manual settings. If you do not lock your shutter speed, ISO, and you move the camera back and forth, this is what you get. It looks a little bit unnatural, and I would assume that the phone would know for you if you set up all the settings automatically and adjust the exposure, but for some reason it adjusts it in a weird manner. So you have to set up all the exposure settings to manual. If you're interested, let me know in the comments. I'll make a separate tutorial on that. But long story short, I have my shutter speed 100, ISO 50, and we cannot film in 8K and log at the same time. We have to choose. So it's either 8K or log. So let me record a few seconds with log and compare it to 8K on the S24 Ultra. One setting that I left the same on both phones is the white balance. Let's switch to 8K on the Xiaomi, we need to disable lock and go into the 8K settings. And what's cool here is that same as on the 24 Ultra, we have 8K for all the cameras. So I can shoot in ultra wide angle camera, main camera, telephoto, and super telephoto camera. All of them do support 8K recording. Now, I'm just trying to match all the settings, make them identical. The framing is almost identical, so you let me know if you can tell which one is which. So this is the camera A and this is the camera B. Just looking at the preview quality, to be honest, Xiaomi looks better. It has more warmer tone to the image. S24 Ultra looks more bland to my taste. All right, now let's see the results. To be honest, Xiaomi looks better. Telephoto camera looks more crisp and detailed. Interesting, but that's on the phone preview. Let me know if you're watching on a bigger screen. Maybe the difference will be more apparent to you. All right, and now the main camera that allows for more light to get under the sensor. Guys, come here, just have a look at the display quality. To be honest, which one do you prefer? I feel like this one gives more like saturated contrast image quality, whereas this one looks more faded. So if I were choosing on the basis of how the preview quality looks, the Xiaomi looks better. However, this one has anti-reflective coating and this one looks better in this regard. So it's very difficult to pick. So you have to go for what you prefer yourself. Definitely the image preview looks more realistic on the 14 Ultra because it's S24 Ultra looks more HDR-like and less saturated, even though there is no log here. This one has log, but unfortunately it's not available for all the cameras. You can only use it with the main camera. Oh. All right, now let me show you guys why adjustable aperture might be a game changer for the phone. I'm using the manual aperture control F4, so this is as close as possible. If I open up the aperture, the whole shot will be overexposed. And this is for the reason because I set up my shutter speed to longer exposure. So that means I will be catching the light trails. And this is not some of the smart modes that a lot of people might be saying. Those are artificial long exposure modes. Here, this is all optical. So look. So for the daytime shot, maybe this is not enough because you get more sun and more light onto the sensor. But for situation as like this, it's just perfect. And you see we have these light trails and it really delivers this sense of speed. And funny enough, I made a similar video on the S23 and S24 Ultra, but I had to use the ND filter for that. And a lot of people told me that so many phones have this feature, but guys, this is this feature, artificial long exposure mode. And you see all those trails look unnatural, whereas here, it looks beautiful. It looks very creamy, smooth, because this is optical mode. Oh my God, I was explaining to you and I missed such a beautiful car, guys. Now you have to leave a like for me. Oh, another car. Thank you for leaving a like. Okay, cool. Here's the comparison to the automatic artificial mode. I think the difference is clear and obvious. It's either the adjustable aperture or you have to use external ND filters for this kind of shots.
Now as for the portrait mode, Xiaomi offers these effects that adjust the blur, but to be honest, I was never into this kind of things on the phone, and I prefer just regular focal length choice. Now let's compare it to the S24 Ultra. These are the shots straight from the phones, both have great separation of the subject from the background, but they process photos in different ways. 14 Ultra is definitely richer in contrast and provides this pop in the image, while Samsung looks more toned down. And while you're leaving a comment about your winner in portrait mode, let's have a look at low light. I used both phones on auto right here, and it seems like Xiaomi just has this amazing software image processing, which is, when paired with 1-inch main camera sensor, gives awesome results for photos. Telelenses are more even in this regard, and sometimes Samsung comes on top and sometimes it's Xiaomi. Well, here they are both pretty even to me. So main difference for low light, I would say, is in the main camera department. Xiaomi is just crazy clean even at higher ISO, and without noise reduction affecting the sharpness. And even at longer exposures, the photos come out pretty decent when handheld. So low light is pretty good on both phones, but I'd give the edge to Xiaomi.
So at the end of the day, both phones are really good. Each has its own advantages. Like the S24 Ultra has this S Pen integration, which I do love, especially when editing photos in Lightroom. This is game changer, I think. On the other hand, the photos coming out of this Xiaomi is really amazing. They did some magic with Leica. This Leica Authentic is really good, especially if you're taking photos during bright sunny weather. man, it looks like they were taken with proper camera. And adjustable aperture is also something unique. I know some other phones already been on the market with adjustable aperture, but personally this is the first phone of mine with it, so I was really excited to try it out and it did not disappoint. And if you spend a little bit of time to learn these phones and how to use their cameras, I think you can squeeze amazing images out of both of these devices. And I will for sure post more updates on how it's going with S24 Ultra and Xiaomi 14 Ultra. Meanwhile, make sure to subscribe to the channel and click this video next, as I think it will be perfect for you. And I'll see you there. Bye-bye. I guess YouTube really wants you to watch this video. I don't know why.